In Venezuela, 277 deputies will take over their positions in the parliament. This Monday, Mexico offered political asylum to WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange after a British judge blocked his extradition to the United States to face espionage charges. Iran seized a South Korean flagged oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. From the headquarters of teleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm Gladys Quesada. On Tuesday, Venezuela's new National Assembly will be settled with the aim of promoting laws to confront the U.S. administration's hostile policy towards the Venezuelan and government and people. The main challenges of the National Assembly will be to achieve peace and the well-being of the people. To accomplish this, it will focus on enacting laws that will restore the economy, parliamentary institutions, and political stability. The first step will be for ministers to be held accountable and provide solutions to recover revenue sources, confront bureaucratism and corruption. The legislative power will be formed by 277 lawmakers who were elected on December 6 parliamentary elections, in which the ruling Great Patriotic Pole, Simón Bolívar, obtained the majority of the votes. And Venezuela lives a new political stage with the renewal of the parliamentary positions and the triumph of the Great Patriotic Pole. The Latin American country hopes to leave behind one of its worst political crises, sparked by aggressions and conspiracies, with the consent of an opposition parliamentary group. Madeleine Garcia has the story.
4 years ago, this was the scenario of the so-called guarimbas of 2017. With the excuse of earlier celebration of presidential elections, opposition lawmakers promoted violence to overthrow President Nicolás Maduro.
The electoral schedule should be revised out in the open, and the presidential elections should be held earlier so that the people can vote.
There were 4 months of terrorist acts which left more than 140 people killed, at least 25 burned alive for being supporter of the government. Young Orlando Figuera was one of them. Her mother is still in tears. The pain for the loss is intact.
The fact that we are poor doesn't mean that we are not human beings, and as Orlando told me, they killed him for being poor.
The violence ended with the election of the National Constituent Assembly that built a platform for peace, a peace that was stolen by the opposition that won the parliament with the promise of an alleged victory that never happened. In 2015, there was an intentional shortage of food and medicines. The purpose of the opposition was not political, it was always economic. After demanding the advance of the presidential elections, they kicked the dialogue table held with the support of the Dominican Republic of the 2018 non-party election. But another opposition sector did. 2 opposing candidates met with Nicolás Maduro, who won the re-election. 3 months after the presidential election, an attack with drones almost killed the Venezuelan president. The attempt failed, but the United States and its allies played a new card on the table, an alleged interim government with the unconstitutional self-proclamation of Juan Guaidó as president. They tried to invade Venezuela with excuse of the alleged humanitarian aid to another mercenary raid on the Venezuelan coast known as Operation Gideon. On April 30, 2019, they failed an attempt coup d'etat that divided the opposition even more. Meanwhile, Donald Trump enforced the blockade and illegal sanctions, and with the Guaido's shadows government, they stole the Venezuelan state company PDVSA Citgo, located in the United States, and other assets. On January 5, 2020, Juan Guaidó wanted to impose him again as president of the parliament to continue his farce as a self-proclaimed president. He started a show, a shocking act of persecution, who was elected as the new president of the assembly. Also, the opposition Luis Parra, who together with at least 83 deputies, decided to distance from Guaidó in disagreement with Guaidó's subordination to U.S. interests. This was when the parliamentary elections were held and the less radical opposition participated. 14,400 candidates from 107 political parties took part. On December 6th, the Venezuelan people decided. But a new plan was dismantled that aimed at obstructing the inauguration of the new parliament. It was the boycott of the National Assembly. According to the government of Venezuela, it was specifically in early December, with a visit to Colombia of Leopoldo López, fugitive of the Venezuelan justice, who met with Iván Duque and Álvaro Uribe. 2 encounters was taken, one in Bogotá and the other in Rio Hacha.
They were told the list of activities to be carried out, which are attack on the Guri, attack on the Amauri refinery, the assassination of a governor, which had not been completed, then the assassination of prosecutor Tarek William Saab, and the taking of the National Assembly and key points in the city of Caracas.
3 Colombian intelligence agents allegedly participated, and the government of Venezuela is offering $500,000 of reward for his whereabouts.
Gerson Rojas, aka Berlin, said at the meeting that he received orders from Iván Duque, Álvaro Uribe Vélez, and Leopoldo López to introduce in Venezuela 20 drones, 10 explosive drones and 10 machine gun drones to attack political objectives.
Finally, on January 5th, as dictated by the Constitution with 277 deputies, the new National Assembly will be installed.
Madeline García, teleSUR, Caracas, Venezuela.
And the Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro Moros held a meeting with the newly elected members of the National Assembly, representing the Great Patriotic Pole Electoral Alliance, and stressed that the new National Assembly will be installed on Tuesday, January the 5th, despite the sabotage attempts by extreme sectors of the opposition and their foreign allies.
By constitutional mandate, this National Assembly was elected on December 6, 2020. And by an inexorable, unquestionable, firm and total mandate, this assembly will be installed on January the 5th at 11 a.m. tomorrow, January the 5th at 11 a.m. Venezuela will have its new National Assembly installed, the new legislative branch. So I thank you because you have been working, you have been informing me extensively on all the plans, the plan called the Carabobo 200 plan of the National Assembly, the Carabobo 200 plan to recover the National Assembly.
And after the appointment of Jorge Rodriguez as the president of the new National Assembly, President Maduro ratified the appointment of Diosdado Cabello as the head of the Homeland Parliamentary Bloc.
It is very important that the Homeland Bloc, the parliamentary group, has an experienced leadership, well articulated, with a work team that is formed to build and maintain the union of our deputies, to maintain the leadership in the states, in the circuits, and for that reason, the name of Diosdado Cabello has been proposed to assume the leadership of the Homeland Bloc within the National Assembly.
And also, the Venezuelan president congratulated the new leadership of the National Assembly, which in accordance with the constitutional mandate will take office this January the 5th.
I congratulate Dr. Jorge Rodriguez, who tomorrow will become the new president of the National Assembly of the country. I congratulate him. To Dr. Iris Varela, first vice president, I congratulate beforehand Comrade Didalgo Bolivar, second vice president, and Comrade Rosalba Gil, secretary, and Inti Hinojosa, under-secretary. 3 women have been proposed out of 5 members of the board. Women in power, the new National Assembly has a feminine hallmark, a women's imprint. Good people, fighters, honest people.
On Monday, Venezuela returned to a strict lockdown as part of the country's strategy to contain the spread of the coronavirus. Venezuelan authorities stated a radical quarantine which will be in place for this Monday until Sunday, January the 10th, as part of its 7+7 method, a measure that guarantees the functioning of priority sectors such as health, food and telecommunications centers. The government has stressed that this mechanism has been effective in interrupting the infection cycle and has insisted on the importance of respecting the restrictions. To this date, Venezuela has registered over 140,000 cases and 1,034 fatalities. More than 108,000 people have recovered from the virus, making Venezuela one of the least affected countries in the region. And Chile's Department of Statistics and Health Information reported this Monday that COVID-19 was the leading cause of death in the country during 2020. At least 87% of the deaths registered in the country over the past year corresponded to this cause. More than 6,700 were deaths of confirmed cases of COVID-19, while another 5,625 were suspected COVID-19 related fatalities due to the symptoms, making for a total of over 20,300 fatalities. As such, COVID-19 claimed more lives in Chile in 2020 than cancer of digestive organs and heart and cerebrovascular diseases. The country has reported over 620,000 cases of the virus. And we'll be right back after this very short break, so don't go away.
Who's moving the chess man? What interests and motivate the actors behind each event? What's at stake? Critical Move investigates every event from Monday to Friday, only on teleSUR.
Follow the most important global events through a comprehensive perspective. With a team of journalists in 25 locations around the world to convey our people's reality. From the South, weekdays, only on teleSUR.
Welcome back to From the South. This Monday, Mexico offered political asylum to WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange after a British judge blocked his extradition to the United States to face espionage charges. Mexican authorities have previously offered political asylum to high-profile international figures such as former Bolivian President Evo Morales. Assange is wanted on 18 charges in the United States relating to the 2010 release by WikiLeaks of 500,000 secret files detailing aspects of military campaigns in Afghanistan and Iraq.
I firstly celebrate that the UK provided protection to Mr. Assange, that the extradition to the United States was not authorized. I believe that it is a triumph of justice. I celebrate that the UK acted in that manner because Assange is a journalist and deserves an opportunity. I am in favor of pardoning him. Not only that, I will ask the Secretary of Foreign Relations to do the necessary proceedings to ask the UK government the possibility that Assange is freed and that Mexico offers him political asylum.
WikiLeaks editor-in-chief Christine Ravninson stressed on Monday that the United States should abandon its attempt to extradite WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange.
In 2020, it has been annus horribilis for most of us, but let's remember it was year 10 of that situation for Julian Assange. But what a moment, a glimpse of hope to start the new year and hopefully a new era. It is a day with win for Julian Assange, but we have to be cautious. It is not necessarily a win for journalism. I am concerned that instantly upon giving her decision, the lawyers for the US government indicated they would appeal the decision. They should not. And there should be a call out and pressure on the US side to drop the appeal, to say enough is enough. We've had enough of this. We have plenty to deal with in this new year, but not this.
The U.S. Department of Justice said on Monday the United States will continue to seek the extradition of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. A department spokesperson said in a statement that while they are extremely disappointed with the UK court's ruling, they are satisfied that the United States prevailed on every point of law raised during the case. In particular, the court rejected all of Assange's arguments regarding political motivation, political offense, a fair trial, and freedom of speech. And the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced new and stricter lockdown measures as the United Kingdom battles rising COVID-19 case numbers, with hospitals overwhelmed as new variant of the coronavirus takes hold.
It's clear that we need to do more together to bring this new variant under control while our vaccines are rolled out. In England, we must therefore go into a national lockdown which is tough enough to contain this. And because we now have to do everything we possibly can to stop the spread of the disease, primary schools, secondary schools and colleges across England must move to remote provision from tomorrow, except for vulnerable children and the children of key workers. Everyone will still be able to access early years settings such as nurseries.
And we have more stories coming up after this final short break, so stay with us. Welcome back. Iran seized a South Korean flag oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz hours before announcing it will increase its nuclear activities as tensions in the region mount in the final days of Donald Trump's U.S. presidency. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said it detained the Hankook Shemi vessel at 10 a.m. local time on Monday due to repeated violations of marine environmental laws. It is the latest in a series of shipping incidents in the Persian Gulf, where several vessels have been attacked and seized in recent years. And on Monday, Kuwait announced that Saudi Arabia was to lift a years-long embargo on Qatar, opening its air and land borders in the first steps toward ending the Gulf crisis. The state has been mediating between Qatar and 4 Arab states that launched an embargo in mid-2017 over Qatar's support for Islamic groups in the region and its warm ties with Iran. The announcement came on the eve of a summit of Gulf Arab leaders in Saudi Arabia that will be chaired by Saudi King Salman. Qatar's ruler is now expected to attend the summit for the first time since the embargo. And members of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries failed to reach an agreement this Monday on whether or not to increase output in February. The majority of OPEC members are against increasing production levels due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, as new lockdowns are likely to further hit oil prices due to lower demand. OPEC and its allies, known as OPEC+, increased output by 500,000 barrels per day this month. Member countries are set to meet again on Tuesday to try to reach an agreement. The Electoral Commission of the Central African Republic has announced that current President Faustin Archange Touadéra secured his re-election in the first round of voting held on December 27th.
Faustin Archange Touadéra, 346,687, Anicet Georges Dologele, 135,081, Martin Sigele, 47,948. In accordance with the provisions of the Article 114 of the Electoral Code, Mr. Faustin Archange Touadéra, having received an absolute majority of votes in the first round of the presidential election of December 27, 2020, with 346,687 votes, or 53.92%, is elected.
In an effort to speed up what has been described as a sluggish rollout of the coronavirus vaccine, the governor of the U.S. state of New York has threatened to fine hospitals up to $100,000 if they don't finish their first round of vaccinations by the end of the week.
Been receiving vaccines over the past 3 weeks. Roughly 46% of the total allocation. These are the hospitals that have used the existing allocation the fastest, and those who have used the existing allocation the slowest.
French authorities announced that one of the organizers of a mass rave, which brought together over 2,000 people despite a coronavirus curfew and other restrictions, has been arrested.
The first of the organizers, who was identified and questioned on Saturday, who finally admitted the facts, was presented this afternoon to the investigating judges who indicted him. We have requested his provisional imprisonment in order to rule out any consultation with the other organizers and because of the weakness of his guarantees of legal representation. He has now been charged with unlawfully organizing the event, damaging the property of others, endangering the lives of others, opening an unlicensed drinking establishment, performing concealed work, and aiding and abetting the use of narcotics by others.
And we have come to the end of this news brief. But remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, please follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram. For Telesur English, I'm Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.